I've been making cyanotypes for a while now, and it's one of my favorite processes. But it loves to throw curveballs. So in this video, I'm going to show you some real examples of what can go wrong, why it happens, and how to fix it. Think of this like a troubleshooting guide. I've learnt the hard way, so you don't have to. If your prints are looking too dark, you might have overexposed, which means it has been left in the sun or under UV light for too long. Though it's usually better to slightly overexpose than underexpose, you want to be careful. When you overexpose, the chemistry keeps reacting. Your midtones get dark, and sometimes your whites turn blue instead of staying bright. So, how do you avoid it? Test strips. They're boring and can be a hassle, I know, but they're the best way to dial in the perfect time, especially when the light keeps changing. So you can see in this print, the subject is blurry and the image is out of focus. Assuming you have a crisp negative, in cyanotype, sharpness depends on having tight contact between your negative and the coated paper. If there's any gap, like from warped glass, uneven pressure, or a slightly curled transparency, you'll get blur or ghosting in the final print. The fix? Make sure you weigh down your setup evenly, and make sure everything's pressed flat before you expose. Also be careful if you're using a clear acrylic sheet to weigh down your negative, as these can warp when they heat up in the sun. Marks on the final print can look like a variety of things. Dots usually indicate dust of some sort. Hairs can leave marks. Scratches on the negatives or what you're pressing it down with can too. This one here with the dancer is smudges from the printer when I printed the negative. I'm not sure about what's on the legs. Maybe tape? Basically, any debris that blocks the UV light is an issue. The best way to avoid this is to clean everything. Your negative, glass, and even your workspace. Always do a final check just before exposing. If anything is leaving a shadow on the paper, it's blocking the light. If you have prints that have certain areas that are much paler than others, you might not have put enough solution on the faded parts of the page. This can be a hard one to know at the time you're preparing your paper, as we do that in low light. So you just have to sort of remember where you've applied the coat. Essentially, in the examples I'm showing you, 2 coats of sensitizer were applied where the blue is normal, but only 1 coat was applied where it looks washed out. To avoid this, make sure you're using enough solution to fully cover the surface, and that you are doing 2 coats. You want smooth, even coverage, without thin patches. In this print, you can see dark lines running down the image. That's from streaky application of the sensitizer. This usually happens when the solution isn't brushed on evenly, or if the paper starts to dry before the coating is fully smoothed out. When I apply my solution with the foam brush, I do a smoothing out coat at the end. In this print, I didn't do that effectively. To avoid this, make sure you use enough sensitizer to keep the brush flowing smoothly. Work quickly and confidently. I personally find foam brushes better to use than regular brushes, but neither way is foolproof. So in these examples, we are looking at areas of the print that should be blue, but they weirdly have these strange white patchy bits. What's actually happening here is the opposite of undercoating. It's usually from using too much solution or not letting it dry properly before exposure. When the coating is too puddly or is still damp when you print, it can wash out the area as the paper hasn't fully absorbed the solution. Or at least that's why I think it happens. Either way, the problem here is too much wetness. To prevent this, aim for smooth, even application and always let your paper dry completely before exposing. You can run your hands over the paper before printing to check this. Dry will feel dry, and damp will feel a little tacky. I hang my prints to dry, and sometimes I get these watermarks that appear. They can present in a number of different ways, sometimes like tide lines, or just blue edges. This happens during the rinsing and drying, especially if water cools and dries unevenly. As it dries, it pulls undeveloped chemistry with it, leaving behind blue trails. To avoid it, you have a couple of options. Dry your print flat on a clear surface and perhaps blot the edges carefully with a towel. Or, if you're hang drying, you can run your fingers across the bottom of the page to remove excess water pooling and soaking back up into the page. If your whites aren't white and are looking blue, this usually means the print wasn't washed long enough after exposure. Basically, the unreacted solution isn't fully rinsed out and continues to stain the lighter areas, especially over time. To avoid this, wash your prints properly in clean running water. And if you wash under a tap like I do, make sure that the water is running off clear before you dry the print. It can be tricky though, as the whites may look white while you are washing and turn blue the next day. You also don't want to overwash either, as you'll begin to wash out the blue in the whole print. This is one of those things where the more you practice cyanotype, the more you'll figure it out. As you can see, this one just looks off. The contrast is low, the blues are murky, and the whites have gone funky. That muddy look is often caused by high humidity, either while coating the paper or while it's drying. The paper absorbs moisture from the air, and this messes with the chemistry. I'm based in Auckland, New Zealand, and it can be super humid here, so this is a problem I face often. If you're also in a humid climate, you have two options in my opinion. The first, which is what I do, is only print on dry sunny days. This is by far the most effective. However, you can also use a dehumidifier or hair dryer on cool if needed during the paper preparation process. Sometimes it's not your coating, not your exposure, and not your wash. It's your negative. A poor quality negative won't come out great no matter what you do. However, with this said, this is a very subjective area. Here's a little video of all the test prints I made for a series of mine. As you can see, I went through a lot of negatives before arriving at my final prints. You don't need to go hard out, but I think this is worth showing you. The fifth, make sure your digital negative has strong contrast and holds deep blacks. I'll make a video of how to make the perfect negative later on. So there you have it, my cyanotype fails in all their glory. I hope this has helped you feel a little less alone in the learning curve. Mistakes are part of the magic, and everyone brings you a little bit closer to your best work. So keep printing. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and if there's any specific tutorials you'd like to see in the future, leave a comment below. Bye for now.